What's up everybody, Matt Moran here for another car review. This is of course the 2018 Mercedes-AMG GT C Roadster. Huge thanks to Mercedes-AMG for providing me with this very sweet Roadster to review for you guys today. Also, huge thanks to the Automotive Video Association for arranging this car and 11 other awesome cars and SUVs for the first ever Automotive Video Awards, which brings 6 of the best car reviewers in video and myself together to decide which is the best performance car and performance SUV of the year. So about the 2018 brand new GT C Roadster, well, these things are amazing looking. I mean, just look at the proportions of it. All the AMG GT models, it's just they have this super long nose that is very elegant and cool looking, but it's just wild. You don't see stuff like this much anymore that's just so long in the front. I mean, where I'm standing, I'm right in front of the side mirror and I'm already halfway down the car. It's kind of wild. You're kind of like sitting in the back seat, just being the driver of this thing. It's kind of wild, but it's beautiful. I mean, I love those headlights you have here on the AMG GT. Of the Pan America grille here on the GTC, and the whole thing is just so low, so wide looking. It just has such a muscular stance, and that goes onto the back where it's the same muscular wide stance with those wide tires, and just the way that the rear bumper juts out there with those little intakes in the rear bumper there. And overall, I mean, it's just a really cool looking thing from every single angle, especially with the top down. With the top up, you do have you know, the cloth top that it still looks very good. You know, it's still a very raked cloth top, but certainly with the top down, it just looks fantastic. Rest of the interior of the 2018 Mercedes-AMG GT C Roadster. Well, it's awesome, much like all the other AMG GT models, and even more so here in the GT C Roadster. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, awesome diamond stitched AMG performance seats that just feel really cool. And they actually have adjustable bolstering and stuff as well, but I mean, the bolstering, regardless of what position it's in, they're very aggressive, but you can make them tighter or wider depending on however you want to have them set up here. But I mean, both torso and thigh support is just awesome, and they really hug you in nicely, and they're also pretty comfortable so far. They also have heated and cooling functions, and they also have the wind scarf, which is a cool Mercedes thing with these little vents behind your neck, and so whenever it's a cold day, you can have heat blowing right on your neck. Even with the top down, you feel pretty nice and warm. So a very cool thing here that's really only in the Mercedes. Next, the steering wheel on the AMG GTC, which is very similar to other AMG models, but that's okay because it's an awesome steering wheel. Has a great 93 grip, nice 10 and 2 notches, a very thick wheel. It just feels very race inspired. Alcantara wrapped also helps with that effect. You can get with smooth leather, I believe, as well too. It has these very large metal paddles behind the wheel too that just are really great. They're large and very nice and thick and feel really substantial. And so overall, this wheel, I mean, you have a couple of buttons here on the front that are plastic, but overall it just looks and feels like $1,000,000. Next are the gauges here in the AMG GT C Roadster, which are again very similar to other AMG products, but that's okay because they're great looking gauges here. You know, you have a speedometer and tachometer that are still analog, and then you have a large digital portion there in the middle, which is again out of most Mercedes, although on AMG models you do get the AMG sub-menu, which gives you all kinds of additional information you can go through there and you know, custom tailor whatever you want to see, whether it's boost pressure, G's, all that kind of stuff it has in there. And so overall, it's a, you know, these center screens are really nice in these Mercedes, just very high resolution and very good looking. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, this is one of the coolest parts about the AMG GTs. All of them have this very cool cascading center console that starts high up top here with this screen, which is a nice widescreen display, and you know, has some thick bezels on it still, but it's still a nice, you know, widescreen display nonetheless. Has all kinds of great information, very high resolution. Your typical Mercedes screen you see in all these, you know, that's controlled with command controller. Not touchscreen, unfortunately, but you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here in these now, which is a nice thing to have here for 2018. And otherwise, though, you know, this has the Burmeister high-end system as well, so the sound system is excellent, so you can jam out with the top down there and still have a very good sounding audio system. And so yeah, overall it's you know, pretty good with that setup. I'm still not a huge fan of using controllers. I just wish it was touchscreen because it is within reach for the most part, but anyway, it's nice to have nonetheless. And then coming down, you have 4 air vents, which is a very cool design feature, and these are laid in carbon fiber, at least for this model, and it just looks really nice. You have your little row of buttons tucked underneath that for your seat controls with all the different features for them, as well as popping up your rear spoiler, all that kind of stuff. And then you have your typical buttons here you see for climate controls in all Mercedes that are very nice though. You know, metal finishes here for all the little levers, and just looks really great. And then you just have all these other buttons here on the left and the right of the command controller and the gear shifter. But the gear shifter is also pretty small, and it's way far back here. You kind of got to do a little bit of a reach with your shoulder in order to, you know, get back here where the gear shifter is. It's way far back there, but very cool, little dainty, you know, shifter, but looks great. And then on the left-hand side here, you have your drive mode selector. You have engine stop start, traction control off, and then your suspension dampers. You can, you know, make them stiffer or more soft depending on, you know, what your preference is. On the right-hand side here, you have a large volume knob, and then you have a couple other buttons here for, you know, auto stop start. And then you have your exhaust button down here at the bottom, which is the best button ever in cars to open up that exhaust valve and make it even louder. As far as storage space in the GTC, well, you know, it's not the greatest, especially here for the Roadster. But anyway, first things first, in the doors, you have a slim little pocket that is flexible, so you could, you know, maybe fit a small bottle in there, but really it's just for maps and, you know, other little things like that. Coming over to the center here, you just have this deep area where you have two cup holders with a cover over top of that. And so good to have those, but then that's it. There's nothing else. You just have this little center armrest which opens up, and then you have a shallow little area that does have two USB jacks and an SD card slot there for the maps. And but yeah, not a ton of space in there, you know, enough to fit a wallet, keys, you know, I guess cell phones and sunglasses, things like that. You know, so nice to have, but not a ton of storage. And that's basically it though. So there's not a ton of places to put things, but that's it. Most, you know, Roadsters are like that. And that continues on to the trunk. Especially, you know, Roadsters, a lot of them don't have the largest of trunks, and this one is similar. So, you know, it's larger than like an F-type's trunk there, you know, as far as convertibles go, but it's not very deep. You could probably fit one normal size suitcase in there, and that's about it, or, you know, two large duffel bags, something like that. So not a ton of trunk space back there. All right, so start up and go for a drive. The AMG GTC has a very cool AMG crest there on the key, and then you still have the Mercedes emblem there on that side with the buttons. Some plastic, but some metal. It's a very nice key though. It's pretty standard Mercedes key other than the AMG crest, but it just feels great, nice weight to it. And of course it's keyless entry, push button start, so you just leave the key in your pocket, hit the engine start button, it roars to life. Alright, so setting off in the 2018 Mercedes-AMG GT C Roadster. Well, it is wonderful, especially with the roof off here. This roof stops nice and early too, so you can still see, you know, forward outside of the windshield here, and looks great. And as far as visibility though, you can see forward very well, although you do that very long hood that you're conscious of, and you do see some of it there through the front, you know, but you thankfully have parking sensors and cameras, all that kind of stuff to help you navigate in tight areas where that might be more of a challenge. View out of the sides is good, although I am sitting very low, and so you can see the door panel is like over my shoulder as far as how low I'm sitting, so but you can still see out very well as long as you're not looking down at, you know, objects on the ground or anything. And view out of the back is pretty good, at least from the top down here. You know, of course you have no restrictions there whatsoever. But yeah, I'm just in the comfort mode right now, and it's a little bit on the firm side, but it's still, you know, really comfortable even over rough roads and stuff. It's not unrefined by any means, but it definitely feels sporty. But anyway, let's turn down onto this straight road here first and see how it does. We're in Sport Plus mode, and here we go. Man, that back end was wanting to get a little squirrely on me. Configuration, 502 pound-feet of torque. This thing will do 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. So very impressive, right up there with a lot of these other supercars. Oh, but the pull of these turbos is wonderful. And there's no lag really, there's no delay. You know, it's just, I'm at $4 grand here, I stomp on it and it downshifts and then takes off. Man, but yeah, so this is all going through a, listen to that, this is all going through a 7-speed Mercedes DCT transmission, so dual clutch there, and it's really quick so far, even in automatic mode. Do some manual downshifts here, it's immediate. Listen to that, oh man, it sounds good.
DCT, and it just feels great. And it's amazing though, this bi-turbo setup it's amazing just how there's no lag whatsoever. I mean, even in, lower RPMs, I'm at, 2,500 RPMs. I mean, before you get the full surge, you have to maybe wait a second and a half or so, but, it starts giving you grunt immediately, so there isn't really any waiting still. You just get more power once the full thing comes on. And then once you're in high RPMs, it is immediate. There is no waiting. It's just, there it is. That's everything. I love the crackles and pops. I know some people aren't a huge fan of that, but I love it. It adds drama and excitement, and all the crackles and pops you want to give me, I'll take them all. They're wonderful. It just gives so much more fun to this vehicle. And we're going around a couple of corners here, and I mean, this thing, it feels really nice and tight and sharp, especially in the Sport Plus mode here. It's just, I mean, every little flick of the wrist, you just get a nice turn in very quick. Listen to that. It's so quick, in fact. Woo-hoo! Yeah, this thing wants to break that back end loose, though, even with these super wide tires. But yeah, I mean, everything is so dialed in this car. I mean, throttle response, as soon as you start leaning in Sport Plus mode at least, it immediately starts giving you power. Brakes are the same way. These brakes are really grabby. There's a nice pedal travel to it. So, I mean, you get a good amount of bite right at the top, but you can tell they are massive brakes. They feel massive. Just, I mean, the second you lean on them a tiny little bit, it's like, oh, okay, we'll just put you down to 0, because it's just like epic braking force out of this thing. I think they're the best brakes that I've encountered in a long time, honestly. It's just amazing. And it's amazing how quickly it slows this vehicle down, too, because these weigh around 3,600 pounds. So, fairly light, but not, featherweight by any means. But the handling is so good. I've never driven any of the AMG GTs before, and I'm really just amazed by how flat it is, how composed it is. And although you have this long nose, it kind of does shrink away after a couple of minutes, so that it doesn't feel like you're piloting some huge thing from the trunk of the car. You feel like you're right in the middle of it here, and it just feels great. And you can feel that engine is so far back too. I mean, because all you have up front is a bunch of air boxes, and the actual engine itself, you can see where the turbos start, and the engine itself, it's way far back here. It's almost like a front mid-engine layout, and so it's you really can feel how central everything is to the middle of the car here. It just feels like it's really well balanced and poised, and it definitely feels a little heavier. That's the only thing, compared to some of the other stuff in this price category. It's not the lightest, but it's definitely not the heaviest either. This thing feels muscly though. It really, especially with that torque, it has a lot of power even down low, and just it's just the way this thing accelerates. It's so smooth, and so it just continues to build and build and build, and it's very progressive with its power delivery, but it's just so much fun. Other things to note though, even in the Sport Plus mode that I'm in right now, it still is a very smooth ride. I mean, even on this road, which is a little rougher, I mean, it's really quite refined. It feels exactly like how you would expect a high-end Mercedes to feel like. It's very polished, just feels great. But yeah, any gear, the thrust from this thing is just massive. And then you just lean on those brakes a little bit, and boom, you're instantly back down to the speed you were at before you hit that gas there. It's just, this thing accelerates and brakes, it seems equally viciously. It's just like, it feels like it's about to pop a wheelie with how it just squats down and takes off. And I love the sounds out of this thing too. Yeah, I mean, there's no body roll, there's no lean in this thing. It just point and shoot exactly where you want to go, and it does it. It's so precise, so sharp, and so effortless too. You don't feel like you're fighting with it. It's just so willing to, okay, we'll just turn in super quick. Okay, we'll just dive into this corner, and it does it all without a sweat. It's really amazing. And another low-speed rolling acceleration. I love it. I love it. Listen to it. And that great sound is just wonderful to augment this awesome driving experience. I just love the way this thing pulls. This thing is a rocket, but you can feel that little bit of edge of danger if you were stupid with it. So you definitely, it's a car that demands your respect and your full attention as well. You can't just, you know, kick it around and, you know, have it do its own thing. You have to treat it with respect because it will bite you. I can feel it. If you were to accelerate too hard out of a corner or something, this thing would gladly get sideways and not care one bit. So now we're just cruising in comfort mode on the highway here at about highway speeds. I got the windows up, and it's very quiet and refined in here. It's, you know, a little bit noisy still. It's not the quietest of convertible sports cars that I've encountered so far, but it is still very nice and very smooth as well, you know, especially when you put it back into comfort mode, turn the exhaust off, and you just cruise around in comfort. And it's really a great car on both aspects. It's very luxurious, but it still is absolutely a sports car, a performance car, and really a supercar by most measures. And it does all that stuff first and foremost. The comfort and stuff takes a second place. It's still a very comfortable car, and we're still talking about a Mercedes after all. But it's just, they didn't cut any corners. It's no excuses. They did everything to their best possible ability here with the GTC, and it's just amazing. And I think it's, you know, you have the GTR, which is more extreme that they have now, but I think the GTC is really the sweet spot where you get, you know, that higher horsepower number, but you still get the comfort, you still, you know, have the slightly more toned down looks, and so it's kind of the best of both worlds here at the GTC. And so overall, it's just an absolute blast, especially with the roof down here. It's just great to let the sun shine in. But yeah, so huge thanks once again to Mercedes for providing me with this very sweet GTC Roadster here to review for you guys today. These things are awesome. They'll be available soon here, and they are going to be amazing to those that can afford them. Those lucky people that can afford these things. It's going to be an absolute blast, and should sell very well because it looks amazing, it drives amazing. There's really not much to not like, unless you like carrying lots of cargo. That's the only complaint. But if that's the case, just go for the coupe instead of the Roadster, and then you have all the space you could want. But yeah, so anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the AMG GT C Roadster in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.